UFC Fight Night, Gabriel Bonfim taking on Randy Brown. Probably the last terrible card of the year, thank God. I can't keep doing these. It's starting to get to me with how terrible these are, and I have to I'm getting sick of it, but this is the last bad one of the year. We're gonna get through it. Let's just get it going. We're doing a breakdown and prediction. Starting out the card, Zachary Reese stepping in on short notice versus Jackson McVeigh. Jackson McVeigh making his debut last fight against Bruno Ferreira, and he got armbarred in the first round. My breakdown for Jackson McVeigh in that fight was that his striking was very, very sloppy. His primary way of going about most of his fights is looking to get into a clinch exchange, trying to land knees, and then looking to work takedowns off of just the clinch. Not so much just shooting in straight for a double leg, stepping off, slipping a punch, and then shooting a takedown. He works off his takedowns through the clinch, and when he does go to reach for the clinch, he overextends himself and he leaves himself to a lot of openings. A lot of times he's not even in range to get into and reach for that clinch. And I don't like that at all, because in a lot of his regional scene fights, he's way bigger. He would tend to wear down on the person that he was fighting and would use his size to really tire them out, weigh on him in the clinch, and then eventually get him to the ground and submit him. But Zachary Reese here, he's just as big. Jackson McVeigh's not going to be able to weigh down on him and use his size to be able to work in the ground game. Zachary Reese is really good at keeping distance, keeping range, and he knows where that range is of where they're going to get into maybe a grappling exchange, or they're gonna get into the clinch, or when he can throw a teep kick, or when he can push you up against the side of the fence and then step off and land a two to the body. He's better in those instances, and that's why I think he's gonna win this fight. Jackson McVeigh's stand-up is just too sloppy for me. He seems too predictable in the ways that he wants to win. And it's literally just off of the fact that he wants to get to the clinch, he wants to work in the grappling off the clinch, and he wants to submit you on the ground. His stand-up game's just not UFC level, I don't think. And Zachary Reese has shown that he can ping a jab very well. He's powerful, he's long, he's just as long as Jackson McVeigh is. I think Zachary Reese wins this one 30-27, I'll say. After that, Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. I'm torn. I don't know. Up until this exact moment, I had Miles Johns winning a close split decision. But I think I'm gonna take Daniel Marcos. Just re-looking at his resume. Miles Johns is a really tricky customer, especially with these younger guys. Maybe not younger, because I wouldn't say that Daniel Marcos is some 25-year-old. You know, he's 32. He's been in the game for a while. He has 18 fights on his record. But more so new to the UFC, kinda. Miles Johns is tricky to figure out because he's so well-rounded. And a lot of times, he does get better as the fight goes. He builds up, but it's not some exponential growth throughout his fights where he starts slow and then eventually he's like, oh my God, in the third round, he almost finished him. That's not really the way it is. It's just kind of like, oh, he took control there in the third round, I guess. Second round, he started to pick it up. Third round, yeah, he started looking good. That's kind of how it is. It's not so much that he's starts terrible, kind of like Piotr Jan, and then all of a sudden he's a monster. That's not really how it is. It's kind of, he's a crafty veteran. He's the definition of a crafty veteran. Daniel Marcos, he was undefeated coming into the UFC, and then his only loss is to Montel Jackson. If you can hang in there with him, if you can hang in there with a guy like Montel Jackson, who's long, powerful, can hang with the guys at the top of the division, if you're in there and you're landing good shots and you're having moments, and not necessarily winning, but he's winning moments, and he's been in there with other good competition. I mean, Davey Grant, Adrian Yanez, split decisions, close fights, but those are good fights. They're really good fighters. I'm taking Daniel Marcos, but I don't like it, and I can sense possible Miles Johns upset here. Miles Johns he's able to mix in grappling very well, which I don't see a lot of people talking about, and which is where if you did point to something that Daniel Marcos was probably not the best in, it's his grappling. So that could be something that gets exploited. But as far as the stand-up goes, I think he's going to be too long. I think his footwork is way cleaner than Miles Johns is. I'll take Daniel Marcos. I'm not the most confident in it. I'm going to fence it a little bit. I think Miles Johns does have a possibility of winning this one. Tisha Pennington versus Denise Gomes, or Denise Gomes, however you say it. I'm taking Denise Gomes. Tisha Pennington, she's not terrible. But for one, I think that Tisha Pennington gets too much respect nowadays, at least for her current state in her career. Like earlier in her career, you know, she was beating big names. I mean, she beat Mackenzie Dern, she beat Tabitha Ritchie, but I mean, that's what, 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe? I mean, it's been a while since she's been in there with good competition. And her last fight was against Luana Pinheiro, who I just don't think is very good. And granted, you win, you know, that's good. But Denise Gomes to me is, and I'm gonna say this in the other women's fight on this card, the new era of women's MMA, like the new fighters coming in when they're in their mid to late 20s, the newer era, it's night and day compared to these older fighters who have maybe been up near the top of the division, maybe somewhere between the 10th and the 5th spot. When they fight these girls who are on the come up and they're in this new age of MMA where they're fully invested in being well-rounded and they have all the pieces to their game figured out, it doesn't really go well for them. I'm going to take Denise Gomes. She's coming off a finish. She has a lot of momentum. She's on a 3-fight win streak. In the loss before that, it's to Angela Hill in 2023, back when Angela Hill wasn't completely washed yet. I like the momentum. I like the names on the resume as well. Maybe not so much Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who's literally like geriatric at this point. Elise Reed's not the worst thing, and Eduardo Moura is also not the worst thing. Those are actually two decently impressive wins. I think Denise Gomes is powerful on the feet, which you don't see a lot in women's MMA, especially at strawweight. Yeah, I'm going to take Denise Gomes. I think she wins a decision here. There is a possibility of her getting a finish, but with the history of Tisha Pennington and not being able to be put away, probably not. So I'll take a 29-28 decision for Denise Gomes. Josh Hokett versus Max Geminis. Max Geminis, he is, I'm pretty sure this guy's like a big jiu-jitsu guy, no? Yes, he is, which is crazy because you look at his MMA record, and I did this originally when I was looking over the card at first, he's 6-1, and 4 of his wins are by KO. So you're like, oh, dude, this guy's got heat in his hands. Kinda, but he's kind of just a fat guy, and he's more known for his grappling. I mean, you scroll down his Tapology, and it's just endless grappling matches. The problem that I have with these bigger dudes who are grappling, who are jiu-jitsu specialists coming over to the UFC, it doesn't really translate very well because these heavier guys are so used to just being able to use their physicality to shuck off takedowns and avoid the grappling game at all costs that it just doesn't translate. And we saw that with what was his name? Marcus Buchecha, I believe. He was supposed to come over and just start wringing people's necks. He immediately loses in his debut because he can't get the grappling going because these bigger dudes just know how to use their physicality to just stop going to the ground. I think Josh Hokett wins this. I think he wins by TKO here. He's got really good finishing potential pretty much everywhere. From the regional scene stuff that I've seen, he doesn't really go the distance. He's going in there with pretty bad intentions, and when he does go to the ground, he's not sitting in your guard trying to pitter patter you to the body, land shots from like stacked guard. He's trying to pass. He's trying to get to crucifixes. He's trying to get to really dominant position. I just don't see Max Geminis being able to find a sub from those kinds of positions and from that kind of aggressive standpoint that Hokett's going to bring. And I kind of just want to see Josh Hokett on the microphone because he's historically kind of a psycho. Like think about Money Moicano or like Colby Covington or Charles Radke, something like he's kind of like that on the microphone, and I want to see it. So I would like to see a Josh Hokett win. I think he gets this done. I'm going to say by ground and pound. I think he gets it done in the first or second round. Yeah, I think Geminis is going to be a little bit too passive when it comes to being on his back, and he's going to rely too much on the fact that he does have a good guard game, and it's not going to end well for him. And not to mention, he hasn't fought good competition outside of the UFC. I'll read you some of the records of these guys, actually. Let me look. The people that he's fought were 0-1, 2-4, 1-3, 6-14, 9-9, 7-8-1. He hasn't fought someone with a winning record, so I can't trust that. I'm taking Josh Hokett. I think he wins in the first round by ground and pound finish. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Same thing as the Tisha Pennington versus Denise Gomes fight. I think Cavalcanti wins this. I think the new age of women's MMA is starting to become very prevalent. Her striking's really good. She really knows how to put a combination together, which I've said a million times in the past. Women's MMA fighters just don't really know how to put punches together, and they don't know how to really put a lot of pop in their shots. Cavalcanti has shown that she can do that, and she's shown it in all of her fights so far. I remember seeing it against Nora Canol, who's pretty big for the division. Not big, but long, and she knows how to use her length. And Cavalcanti was able to find a way around it. Same thing against, I believe, Julia Avila was another one that she was able to pick apart pretty much from start to finish. Josiane Nunez was another one. She's fought girls who have been in the UFC for a decent bit and have had experience under their belts and who are also good strikers and are also pretty well-rounded. Mayra Bueno Silva, her calling card is that she's like this brute and is just gonna like outmuscle you and be able to just use her physicality, use her chin, use her forward pressure to kind of just wear you out, shoot constant takedowns and all that fun stuff. I think she's just gonna be running into shit the whole time because Cavalcanti's she's not afraid of like putting a pace on you, flicking a jab out as much as she possibly can. She's not afraid of throwing. So, and she has confidence in what it is that she's throwing. So Mayra Bueno Silva, she's getting older, no? How old is she now? I haven't even looked. She's 34. Okay. I trust in Cavalcanti's ability to strike at range. I trust in her ability to defensively grapple and not get taken down as much as other people think that she's going to get taken down. So I have her winning this by 29-28 decision. I think there is possibly a chance where she does get taken down for a round, probably like a full guard, and puts a body triangle in and just accepts that she does lose the round, doesn't tire herself out. Then eventually the round ends, she gets back up, and it doesn't really happen again from that point forward. So I'm going to take Cavalcanti. I think she wins 29-28. Next up, Ricky Simón versus Raoni Barcelos. I'm taking Raoni Barcelos here. Raoni Barcelos is a tricky customer as well, kind of like Miles Johns. Ricky Simón, obviously, his last however many fights, he doesn't have the best record. He's coming off back-to-back wins. Obviously, the Javid Basharat knockout, which was nasty, and then the dominant win over Cameron Smotherman, who I just don't think was ever that good. Raoni Barcelos, people look at Raoni Barcelos like he's some crotch-sniffing grappler who just wants to hold top position and make stuff boring. He's really well-rounded, and he has heat in his hands too. Like, are we just forgetting that Raoni Barcelos can put people away on the feet? People just look at the Peyton Talbot fight and think, oh, dude, he just wants to hold top position, and the guy doesn't have anything else. Like, he has more TKOs than he does submissions. Like, the guy has good hands. His stand-up's good. His footwork is also very good. And for his age, he hasn't slowed down. Like, typically, you can kind of see them start to fall off. As their career goes, you can kind of start to see him fall off a little bit, slow down a little bit. He hasn't really slowed down all that much. In his last 3 fights, he's beaten guys who are really good. Christian Quinones, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt. Those aren't like no-name guys who he's just, they're just gifting him a win streak. Like, he's handedly beating these guys who are pretty good. I do think Ricky Simón is a little bit washed. I will say that. But a lot of people are thinking that Raoni Barcelos is coming into this just to try and grapple, shoot takedowns over and over, make it ugly, get Ricky Simón tired. I don't think he even needs to do that. I think that he can stay at range. Maybe not even just stay at range, but he can stay on the feet for as long as he wants. I think he's going to be able to out-scramble Ricky Simón in moments. I think it is going to be close, but I think the stand-up leans a little bit toward Raoni Barcelos on the technical side of things. The power advantage is going to go to Ricky Simón, obviously, what he's known for. He's a wrestler with a big overhand. That's his style. But Raoni Barcelos, I think, is more technically sound on the feet. His footwork is just as good as it was when we saw him years ago. I think he wins this in a close decision. And I think he's going to be able to win some grappling exchanges. I think they're going to be all over each other on the feet. It's going to be tit for tat. And I think it goes to possibly a split decision. But I think Raoni Barcelos wins this one. Moving on from that. Jamal Emmers versus Haider Emil. I'm taking Haider Emil. I'm not the most confident because you never know what you're going to get with Jamal Emmers. He's been in there with good competition, and he's looked sharp in some aspects of some fights, bad in other aspects of that fight, or the next time he'll come out, he looks good in everything, or the next time he'll look bad in everything. He's like the 145 Jake Matthews. Like, you just don't know what the hell you're going to get from him. In his record, his record in the UFC reflects that. He's 500. His last fight against Gabriel Miranda, he gets a finish. It's Gabriel Miranda, who I think is terrible, and I think I said that in the prediction video. Gabriel Miranda, like, that couldn't have been more of a layup for him. Before that, it's Nate Landwehr, who we've seen is not the same person anymore, but guess what? Jamal Emmers got finished by him. That inherently, I can't trust someone who got finished by Nate Landwehr in 2024. And on the other side of things, Hyder Emil, I get it. He's coming off a nasty KO to Jose Delgado. Hyder Emil, I think, needed that in a sense, because for one, he was undefeated. He was talking like he was going to run through the whole division, and his fight style showed that. He literally just walks forward and tries to kill you from the bell, and he's done that against everybody, and it had worked all the way up to that point when he got KO'd by Jose Delgado. But I think he needed that to kind of like humble himself almost and like realize, hey dude, stop fighting like a toolbox, show that you can actually put the pieces together, because he does have the skills and he does have the mindset of wanting to be able to finish a fight, which we seem to have an absence of in today's MMA. And by the way, I need to point this out. When he did get KO'd by Jose Delgado, Delgado lands the knee flush, puts him down. The fight gets called, but you look over at Hyder Emil and he's right back up. Like, fine. Not like wobbly or anything. Like, he was up looking at the ref like, damn it. Like, he was mad at himself, obviously, because he got knocked out, but he was immediately back up. And the knee could not have been any better. Any less of a perfect shot than that, Hyder Emil's completely fine. I still trust in his chin. He's been in there with guys way better than Jamal Emmers, like William Gomes. Who beats William Gomes in a decision? A tit-for-tat decision. Hyder Emil did that. And William Gomes is the poster boy for tit-for-tat decisions. No one really beats William Gomes at that game, but Hyder Emil did. I think he's going to be able to get a finish here. I think he gets a finish. I think he gets a finish in the first or second round. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that he has that kind of mindset flip of like, all right, let's slow down, put the pieces together, find a shot, rather than trying to force it so much. And I think he can do that. I think he's a smart enough dude to do that. He's shown in his fights, his fight IQ is actually pretty good. Can't just be some, no-brained retard to beat William Gomes to a decision. I'm taking Hyder Emil. I think he gets a first or second round TKO here. After that, this should be, in my opinion, this should be the co-main event. Marco Tulio versus Christian Leroy Duncan. I'm going to take Marco Tulio. He's one of my favorite prospects on the roster. I love watching this guy fight. He has bad intentions with everything he throws, but he doesn't overextend. It's probably been 7 months, 8 months since we saw him last against Tresean Gore, where he looked unstoppable. I can't remember him taking a very clean shot. And Tresean Gore, he's not some slouch. He's not good, but he's also not like completely awful. And he's pretty good on the feet. Marco Tulio, he's been doing this. He's been outclassing these guys who have been pretty mediocre middleweights. He's been putting them away like pretty easily, like putting heat on them. It's not like he's like pinging a jab and then it's like the second or third round hits and you're like, oh my God, I think his nose is finally broken. No, he's stepping off and landing like overhands from the bell. And the guy, you can tell the guy like immediately, guys are just rocked immediately. And Tulio, the thing about Tulio is you see him throw shots and you'd think that he would get tired, because it seems like he's putting 110% into every single thing he throws. But against Tresean Gore, the fight almost went to the third round, and all the way up until the finish, he was throwing 110% into every shot, and he didn't slow down one bit. And he didn't get sloppy either. It was weird to watch. And on the other side of things, Christian Leroy Duncan, I think, seems to be a little bit passive at times, and he looks to find this like big, extravagant type of shot where he like lands a flying knee, he lands like a spinning elbow. He needs one of those, it seems, in these fights that he's had recently, where he can't put the fundamentals together. Start landing a nice 1-2, start landing a jab to the body, start landing nice calf kicks and setting a base for the fight. Marco Tulio does that really well, and his fundamentals are just very, they're sharp. They're sharp. And he throws them with conviction, too. His fundamentals, I think, are just going to be too sharp for Christian Leroy Duncan. I don't like how passive Christian Leroy Duncan can be at times. And it worries me that that it might get away from him at some point. That being said, with the way that Marco Tulio does fight, where he kind of blitzes in and goes guns blazing at you from the bell, there's a chance that he gets caught. You know, I mean, like I said, Christian Leroy Duncan's looked at as he needs this big flying knee, or he needs some crazy shot to wobble you. There's a chance he lands one because of the way that Marco Tulio fights. He's gonna walk toward you. So it's there for the taking, but can he actually land it? He hasn't as of recently, so I can't trust it. I'll take Marco Tulio. I hope he gets a finish here. I want him to be ranked soon. I want him to be not fighting at the apex. I want him on a pay-per-view. This guy is too fun to watch to be fighting on a fight night card. After that, we have Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim. I don't think Bonfim's very good. I don't think either of the Bonfim brothers are good. Don't let that... I just spoiled my main event pick, by the way. God damn it. Chris Padilla has been an underdog in every single fight in his UFC career so far, and he's won every single one. And he's an underdog here as well. I'm taking Chris Padilla. He's good everywhere, especially on the ground. He's not the type to take you to the ground and then just like let you get away and let you survive. He's gonna find a way to hurt you really bad when it gets to the ground, or even on the feet. He's kind of like Marco Tulio in that sense. He throws everything with conviction, and when he does get to the ground, he has that same mentality of really trying to get you out of there. And if he's mixing it up on the feet pretty well against Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's like, he's a cheat code. He's like 8 feet tall at 155 pounds. He's huge. And Chris Padilla is landing good shots, and he's able to slip on the inside, find shots up in close. That's a big deal. I just don't think Ismael Bonfim's very good, dude. I really don't. We saw the doctor stoppage, obviously, against Nazim Sadikov in his last fight. I mean, his best win is Terrence McKinney. Nasty flying knee. Disgusting. Then he loses to Benoit, and then it's like, and then they give him another, and then they're like, all right, here's a layup. Get your win streak back up and going. And it's Vince Pichel. And he doesn't even finish him. It's Vince Pichel. How old is Vince Pichel? He has to be at least like 42. He's 42. Vince Pichel hasn't won since 2021. Vince Pichel hasn't won in 4 years. He's not good. I don't know how the you don't finish a guy like that. To be fair, Vince Pichel he's not known to get finished. He's not like a Nate Landwehr or like one of the older veterans who gets put away easy, but still, like the Bonfim brothers, they're supposed to be these crazy high finishing rate, like, I just don't see it. Chris Padilla is good everywhere, and if it does go to the ground, I think he's gonna have the edge, honestly, and I think he has the edge on the feet too. I'm taking Chris Padilla. I think he's really underrated, dude. Moving on from that. Muslim Salikov versus Uros Medic. I don't like this. God damn it. I'm gonna take Uros Medic. I'm letting my feelings play a part here. I love watching Uros Medic fight, man. Uros Medic, his calling card is kickboxing range, I guess you could say, is where he's probably at his best. He does tend to hold his chin a little bit high in the air, which worries me, especially when they get into boxing range. When the kickboxing range starts to close a little bit and they start getting into boxing range, sometimes you can tell he doesn't really realize it and he gets clipped, which actually happened against Punahele Soriano. It worries me that's gonna happen here because it's Muslim Salikov. It's not some like awful just don't know what they're doing. Like Muslim Salikov, Sambo background, incredible kickboxer, veteran, knows how to land a big one. So that does worry me. But I think the speed and the youth, I guess, is gonna play a part, and I think he's gonna be able to stay on the outside. And at some point, I think he's going to land something that wobbles Salikov and he's going to get a finish. Something almost like the way that Randy Brown did it. Kind of like he has these nice bursts where he'll slap a left hook into a right hand. He'll step on the inside and land a nice hook on the exit. He lands really nice shots like that, and he's powerful too. The worry is his chin. I'm not fully sold on his chin, but that does worry me. And Salikov he's a veteran, and it worries me, but I just love Uros Medic too much. Don't take my advice on this one. I just like watching Uros Medic fight. That's really what it is at the end of the day. So I'm taking Uros Medic. I think he wins this by TKO in the second round. Co-main event. This is the co-main event. Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. I will not be talking about this fight for longer than 30 seconds. I'm taking Joseph Morales. I've said this in the past. I think that my grandma could knock out Matt Schnell. I think that if you flick Matt Schnell upside the head, I think he goes out cold. Joseph Morales coming back to the UFC has a nice finish in his re-debut, I guess. He looked good. and I'm gonna take him. And I don't like Matt Schnell. I don't think he's good. He thinks that he can like mix it up on the feet at times, and then all of a sudden someone lands a grazing jab off his forehead and he's like doing the stanky leg. Moving on. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. People who know me and people who know this channel know that I love Randy Brown, and I think he's going to get a TKO here. I have it happening in the 3rd round just because Gabriel Bonfim, I don't think that he's finishable really early unless he like walks into like a JDM or something. He comes out too sharp. When both guys are dry and he wants to get the grappling going and he wants to get a clinch, he can get onto that early. He can get onto it easy. But as the fight goes, as we saw against Nicholas Dalby, if you can put a pace on him and you can start just landing consistent clean shots, nothing crazy, but landing consistent shots, defending the takedowns, scrambling back to your feet, it wears him the out, especially over 5 rounds. Like, can you imagine Gabriel Bonfim trying to go 5 rounds with someone who's actually trying to not be held down, someone who's actually trying to spin off the fence, someone who's pinging a jab, someone who's teeping him to the stomach? I think Randy Brown is really good, and I've said this in the past. He beat Brian Battle. That's a win. I don't care. Brian Battle's a pussy. I don't care what you guys say. I know a lot of people love Brian Battle. I can't stand the guy, and he lost to Randy Brown. So with that being said, of Randy Brown's last 10 fights, he's lost 1 time then, and that's to Jack Della Maddalena, was the only person that he's lost to. Randy Brown is really good. He's nasty on the feet. His chin worries me a little bit. I'm not necessarily worried about Gabriel Bonfim though sparking Randy Brown on the feet. And Randy Brown, when he has a size advantage, like a substantial size advantage, especially with his reach too, he does better than most people I've ever seen. I think Randy Brown's going to win this one by TKO in the 3rd round. I don't think Gabriel Bonfim, I think he's going to start to fade. I think that the 1st round goes to Bonfim. I think he's able to get a takedown. I think he's able to get the back possibly, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a finish. I think he's able to hold dominant position and win the round. But in saying that, I do think that Randy Brown is going to be able to scramble, and he's not just going to lay there and just give up position. Because since when has Randy Brown ever done that? The only time you can say he did that was against Brian Battle, and Brian Battle just held him against the fence. They get separated. He held him against the fence again and just did it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I don't think Gabriel Bonfim has that in him. So for the 1st round, 2nd round, he could do that, but he's shown it in the past. He's gonna fade if someone puts up any sort of resistance to it. And unfortunately, Stephen Thompson didn't really put up much of resistance. Even though Stephen Thompson, in most people's eyes, won that fight, Gabriel Bonfim didn't do much in that fight, and he won. Randy Brown is going to put up a fight when it comes to the grappling exchanges. He's going to tire Bonfim out, and he's going to spark him with a nasty check hook, I think. I think he's going to throw a right hand. Bonfim will try to extend on it. Randy Brown will slip out of the way. Boom. Clip him with a check left hook on the way out. And I think that Bonfim goes out. And even if you want to do just MMA math, Gabriel Bonfim fights Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby tires him out, outdogs him, puts him away. Nicholas Dalby then fights Randy Brown. Randy Brown outdogs Nicholas Dalby and gets a KO of the year contender over him. If you want to do MMA math that way, be my guest. I don't know how the Randy Brown is an underdog here. I have no idea. So yeah, officially the last worst card of the year in the books. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Like and subscribe per usual, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.